Okay, I'm trying this again. Hello, hello. I'm gonna just see if this light, it doesn't, okay. Anyways, hi, how are you today? Dawn L here, and I wanted to pop on and come into the group live because it's been a while. And I wanted to speak a little bit about what I've been feeling is happening collectively and how I can support you through just, what I've been channeling and seeing through spirit. And I'm just gonna fix my light really quick and then we're gonna get going. So don't mind me, like front and center here. I'm just gonna see if I can, that's a little bit better. It was just too bright. Okay. So I have been, first of all, myself going through quite a lot of shifts. If you follow me, if we're friends or you've worked with me, you may or may not know, but I just moved. It's been 6 weeks now. I moved from San Diego to Boise, Idaho, and I have been going through quite an adjustment phase and getting used to all the new things. And there's just a lot, and it's been great, but it's also been challenging in a lot of ways. And it's so ironic because everybody that I've been speaking to lately has their different version of this story, but essentially it goes like this. Mine, obviously, I moved cities and it's creating a lot of shifts and changes. But for you, it may be that in the last few months especially, a lot of stuff has bubbled up to the surface. Maybe things that you didn't even foresee happening, changes that need to be made. And it's not bad. Not all of it's bad, but it could feel a little painful. It could feel like you're in a contraction of your life right now, of your reality. And when a lot of stuff is brought up to the surface, it's because there is a greater purpose. I really believe that. I really believe. And so what I mean is, if you're going through a challenging time, if you feel like a certain part of your life isn't working the way that it used to, it's not there to torture you or cause you pain. If anything, it's happening for you to rise up into who you're meant to be, your truest, most authentic self. And so I just want to start there. This is happening for your best and highest good. But what I've seen with a lot of my clients is there's, let's say some beliefs and patterns that have been showing up that no longer serve them. And it's a lot of it is centered around self-worth. And so I still have my watch on from working out. I never wear my Apple Watch except when I work out, and I keep forgetting to take it off. I have to admit, I've been kind of like a nerd about tracking my steps lately. Anyways, so these beliefs and patterns that have been coming up for you, that don't support you feeling worthy of what you desire, are coming up for a reason. Now, for some of you, it may be around relationships. It could be around money. It could be any area of your life. But we're going through a huge death and rebirth transformational time right now, especially with how Pluto's been astrologically moving out of Capricorn, going into Aquarius. And it's almost as if everything that's not supposed to work is just going to kind of rise up to the surface so that things can shift and change. So when things rise up to the surface, it can be really challenging, right? Because you're like, whoa, where is all this coming from? Out of nowhere. Why is this happening? Why do I feel like I'm in such a contraction? Or why is this, happening all at once? And what if it's been happening for a while? And now it's just more concentrated and compacted. That's what Spirit's telling me, is it's more concentrated and it's more in your face. And it's in your face because it needs to get your attention. And if it wasn't in your face like that, it's almost like, well, I could use the old tools I've been using to get by, get through, and deal with stuff. And so you're not meant to do that anymore. You're not meant to just get by, get through things. You're meant to slow down, pause, and look at why the things in your reality aren't working for you and what they're asking of you. And it's so easy when we're going through a time of change to want to just go back to what's comfortable, what feels normal, a lot of what our past entails for us, right? But this time right now is not asking that of us. It's really asking for you to have a vision of where you're going and who you want to become. And I know for me, I just made this huge transition of like this big move I was telling you guys. And I don't yet know 100% who I'm becoming. And I ask, as somebody that mentors people on futuring and manifestation, I'll often ask the question, like, who do you want to be in a year from now, 3 years from now? And people are like, I don't know exactly. And I always tell them to start with how they want to feel, to identify 2 or 3 different dreams that feel really amazing and incredible, and then understanding how that would feel if that were to come true in their reality. So while you're going through this big transformative time, not getting swept up and lost just in the challenge, just in like maybe what's being let go of versus staying present to what is. I really feel, I'm going to try and stay like linear thinking a little bit so that it makes sense what I'm trying to talk about, but I really feel that there's a big timeline shift right now. And so many people who've been on the spiritual path have been doing a lot of work on themselves and figuring out like their past trauma, their ancestral stuff, their, all that stuff, so that they could walk through this period of time that we're in right now as a collective and understand, have a really great foundation for who they are. But the next level of what we're going through, this new timeline that I see appearing, is about lightening our load and like not carrying so much forward with ourselves. It's almost like letting go of more karma. But in order to do so, we have to practice and let go of some of our attachments. And attachments look like your coping mechanisms that aren't supportive for where you're, where you're headed, let's just say. For me, I was asked to give up alcohol. And it's been really hard. It's been 2 months. And, because I just moved and just been going through this huge transition to give up something that, and I didn't even drink that much, you guys. It was like minimal, like maybe 1 or 2 drinks on a weekend. But the point is that you may have some coping mechanisms where like you just like veg out on the couch at night and you Netflix every night and you just kind of like get out of your discomfort of whatever you're feeling through that process. Or maybe you go shopping to numb something that you're feeling inside, whatever your coping mechanism is. Understand that it may not work the same because spirit is asking us to evolve, and it's going to make things a little more uncomfortable. Not spirit, but just our lives are going to get a little more uncomfortable before they become the new normal. And so those things that we've used to distract and numb ourselves, they're not going to work the same. That's what I'm hearing. They're not going to work the same. And it's not to torture you or punish you. It's the whole point is to be present with yourself, to come into a space. And I just see this like huge blank canvas of what's possible for yourself by really letting go of the old deteriorated patterns that keep you looping. And it's so interesting that I hear the word deteriorated when I'm channeling right now, because deterioration to me is like if a building's deteriorated, right? It's kind of dilapidated and it doesn't look good and it's falling apart. Well, maybe on the outside, you look fantastic, but maybe inside you're still suffering from your inner critic and from, these ways that you're living your life that aren't in the fullest alignment. And so the deterioration is of your spirit, it's of your soul, because you're not aligned with it. So this time is designed to help you come back to who you truly are. And it's going to be through some of these challenges. It's going to be through so much letting go and emptying out and creating space for the new. And oftentimes before the new comes, we have to sit in the discomfort, right, of the grieving, of the letting go, of this vast space, right? This black hole, if you will, where it's almost like everything kind of like, it is almost like can decimate what's not supposed to stay. I know that sounds really intense, but the spiritual purpose of getting rid of some of these old beliefs, patterns, and things in your life. So maybe for you, it's your money habits and how your finances have been. Maybe that structure doesn't work for you anymore. Maybe it's your relationship and your health. It doesn't matter. You will know exactly what part of your life is ready to be restructured, to get rid of the deteriorated structure and move into something that you can build that is absolutely beautiful and can stand the test of time. Because going back to the timeline, I literally see a split, and our planet is in so much disarray. I don't want to, go into all of that. There's so much happening collectively. But if you could just think about your journey right now with yourself and what you've been going through and what you've been experiencing as far as your challenges and how they're indicative of your rise. So this timeline that I'm seeing is essentially where it's like there's the fear train and then there's the love train. And one of my favorite astrologists talks about this. But I see it as like an energetic template almost on the planet, like a consciousness that's wrapped around the planet. And if you're in fear, you're only going to see so much, right? Because your perspective is only going to allow you to see so much of what's available to you. But if you're seeing things through the lens of love, it's like you're in expansion and you're open to see things, all the different possibilities and potentialities that exist in the quantum field. And it feels like that timeline that's rooted in choosing love within yourself, love for humanity, love for the planet, is one that it doesn't have like a decisive nature to it in the sense of like, oh, this is what's going to happen. Like if anybody's telling you as a channel, I've been channeling for 20 years. And if they ever tell you, some people, there are a few people like Edgar Casey and certain people that have been able to like predict very specific things. But most people don't know exactly what's going to happen. But I can tell you this. I don't see some decisive like thing that's supposed to happen in the love timeline. But what I feel is this open expansiveness of what's possible. But you have to purify yourself first for it. You cannot go into this new energetic from your old energy. You see what's happening is that we're being asked to let go, right? So that's the death process. That's the death into the rebirth. And this timeline, you could just say it as it's a new energy, is one where things are going to look different and not be exactly, obviously. So you cannot take the same perspective that you have in certain areas of your life that you're living. Like, let's say money is your struggle. You can't keep looking at it through the same distorted lens, if you will, and think that you're going to get to this new timeline. Like, first of all, by the way, this isn't like a bus or a train that's just going to pick you up and leave you on the tracks if you are not getting it. It doesn't work that way. What I'm hearing is you keep getting opportunities to see your challenges through the lens of love, and let love and surrender rewire these neural pathways. I specialize in subconscious transformation, and I help people see the patterns that are keeping them so stuck. And right now I feel like a lot of what's happening on the planet is people are being, they're having to face, it's not like some like, oh my God, where is it? It's so hard to find my patterns. It's like in your face because there's something very specific that's not working for somebody. And so when you start to face that and start to see it through a lens of love, then you realize, oh my gosh, well, this pattern that I've been adopted since my childhood that I used to survive, it was great back then, but it doesn't work now for where I'm going. So therefore, I need to see this in a new way. I need to choose a new loving approach to this so that you can move into a new energetic. So the timeline is not like a place you're going to, it's a perspective and it's a frequency. It's an energetic. And it's great because when you open up to it, you are going to find that so much of your life opens up for you. I think that's really the request that Spirit has for all of us is how can you open up more to the life that you truly want to live, that's been designed for you, but yet you keep choosing into old constructs, and old constructs that are power structures that you think feed you, like success and just money. Like you think that feeds you and makes you feel a sense of worthiness, but it doesn't. Who are you when all that stuff is stripped away? Like, can you still love yourself and feel worthy of the life that you want to create, even if you haven't had things, go exactly the way that you want? Can you still see life through the lens of love? Or are you going to beat yourself up and be like, I'm a loser and I can't pull this off? So the opportunity right now is to see everything through the lens of love and surrender. And this is the biggest piece I want to, kind of share and leave you with. I don't know how long I've been talking, but I just wanted to kind of pop on and do this and just share a little bit. Is if you are resisting what's in your life right now, if you're resisting it and you're like, oh, I don't want to deal with this. Why is this happening to me? There's a really good chance that you're pushing away what wants to be alchemized in your life. You're pushing away the curriculum that has been given to you by life and from the divine for you to become the vibrational match to what you want to receive. Because remember, when you claim that you want something, then life moves in such a way that what's not in alignment with that will show up for you. And that's what we need to, that's what we're always working on, right? That's what I call healing forward. If you're resisting it though, and you're like, no, I don't want to, no, this sucks, I don't want to do this, then you're delaying and maybe even on some level kind of pushing away the timeline that wants to drop in for you and help you expand and grow in ways that you can't even imagine. Because I feel like there's going to be more instant manifestation. There's going to be opportunities for so much more prosperity and not just in money, but in so many ways. If you can start to see things from a different way. So don't resist what's happening for you. In the now moment. I have a client that I was working with last week. She's incredible. And she said something to me, and I have to share because it was so interesting and it's relatable. And she was talking about, because I work with women on, creating their dream life and becoming their thriving future self in the now. And she was like going through some stuff with her family, her husband, and she was telling me about her to-do list, all these things that she has on her manifestation list that she wants to have happen and create. And I was listening to her talk and I was like, oh my gosh, one of the things I teach women is to soften and slow down. And having a to-do list for manifestation is not necessarily like a thing that is going to feel good in your body. Like, oh my God, I laugh when, I think it's great when people do this, but I also laugh when people are like, in order for me to have the life that I want and create it, like I have to have this like very particular specific morning routine. And I get up at like 4:30 in the morning and I'm doing this, and this, and I'm drinking my green juice and I'm, saying my mantras and affirmations. I love all that. And I know plenty of people who have their dream life without that. And I know plenty of people who've done all the right things and they still get sick. They still have issues. They still have difficulties in their life. So I say that because really it's about being in communion with the divine all day long, like seeing your life as this kind of constant conversation of how you can create your dream life. Anyways, back to my client. She was saying, oh yeah, I have all these things I want to do. And I said to her, because I know her very well, and I said, you've always used being busy as a way to distract yourself from some of the work that you have to do. And I said, ironically, if you just look at your life and what it's providing for you right here, right now, it's almost like you're trying to leapfrog that. Like she had this big thing going on with her husband and him getting sober. And it was like as if she just wanted to avoid that and just kind of go into the next thing. Like, okay, what's next? Like travel, this, that, the other. And it's like, yes, and those things will come. But what life is asking you to deal with in the here and now is your husband's sobriety. And if you focus on that, all those timelines will open up. So I share that as just an example of sometimes we get in our head that like we're manifesting, we're doing all these things, and yet life is like, but hey, I need you to work on this very specific thing right here, right now to become the vibrational match for the thing that you want to receive. But you're too busy being focused on your fantastical vision. And don't get me wrong, you guys, I love fantastical visioning, but there's a time and place for it. Like, do it in your meditations, but also do not resist what's happening in your day-to-day life that's trying to get you to become the resilient, strong, abundant version of yourself in the now moment, so that that new timeline can just drop in. And that example about, that I'm just using about like not resisting anything is very much the work right now that I feel like Spirit is asking all of us to do. Like, don't bypass what's in front of you. Don't try and leapfrog and be like, I just want to get to the next level. I know I'm doing it in some ways with my move. Like I found myself just wanting everything to be a certain way because my brain is in overdrive with like so much new stuff with being in a new city state. And I was like, well, wait a second. I need to slow down and deal with what's right in front of me. All the things that I want will come when I attend to the here and now. So if your here and now is fantastic, great. But if you're experiencing challenges like how I started this call off, this is live, slow down and dance with it, be with it. And understand that it's preparation. When you deal with it, you're telling the universe you have the energetic capacity to face and be with what it's giving you, the divine curriculum that is the preparation for the life that you want. And so instead of, leapfrogging and jumping over it, it's just allowing it, accepting that it's all, whatever's happening is there for a reason. And that you will get to where you want to go. Just like I'm saying with the collective, we all are energetic individual contribution to the collective energy. And we all have lots of work to do. And I'm not a proponent of saying, oh, you need to do all this work on yourself. But what I mean right now is I really do believe, because I've seen it so much with my soul sisters and my clients and friends, that we are being ushered into this huge collective awakening where we get to be on this new timeline. And in order for it to happen, we have to mind ourselves. Like we have to be with ourselves and figure out where is that dilapidated, like foundation in our structure of our lives. And now that things have moved into Aquarius, like all the energy is shifting, but what wants to be reborn? What wants to come through you so that you can have more flow and ease in your life? Because when we do the work, I don't know about you, but I was always like, oh my gosh, if I get too much in my work, and I'm not talking about my business, I'm talking about my personal stuff. Like when I get into my feelings too much, when I'm, going through a grieving process with leaving behind my city that I was living in 33 years, even though I want this and I chose this move, I'm going through a grieving process. And I was just telling my fiance last night, I was like, oh, I'm so sad. I miss home. My old home. This is my new home, but I miss the old place. And he's like, let yourself feel it. And I was like, I almost feel guilty for feeling that because I had worked so hard to get here. But the point is we have to feel our feelings. We have to do the work. We have to face what's in front of us, not just jump over it, gloss over it, pretend it's not there. The true work is really creating such a resourced relationship within ourselves where we see things through the lens of love. We're not resisting things. We're allowing things so that we can eventually become our future selves that we've been working on, that we've been seeing, hopefully in your vision of what you want to create for yourself. So I just thought I would hop on and say hi because it's been a while. And if you are going through your own little proverbial dark night of the soul, or you're feeling like, oh gosh, I want to know and understand this more, reach out to me. You can private message me. I have some one-on-one spots right now for coaching, and I'm eventually going to be opening up my mastermind again. So if you want to learn more, don't hesitate to reach out. We're all in this together. You know, one thing I realized is it doesn't matter who anybody is. We all have behind the scenes things that are going on that we have to deal with, that are there to help us become stronger and more loving and all the things, right? So I'm here to support you if you need support, and I hope that you have a beautiful rest of your week. And I will be back, I think, in the next couple days for the Soul Cast. So I will see you guys then. Take care.